Yo, 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 coming live to you from an Airbnb in Cannes. Okay, I don't know why I sang that. Um, just letting you know why the change of scenery, because usually I'm like in my office at home. So that's that. Today I wanted to talk about how to know if you're in a cult. Juicy topic. Or rather, I recently had this, epiphany. Not really an epiphany, just like a statement. Okay, a statement that is true for me. And that statement is I would rather be stupid, like actually be stupid, than to derive a sense of intellectual superiority or moral superiority or any kind of superiority from calling and labeling other people as stupid. So let me explain. Let me explain. Because by stupid, of course, like they're stupid, but there are also other words that kind of, imply this, carry the same kind of labeling, like, I don't know, conspiracy theorist, anti-vaxxer. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? I don't know. I don't know what the rules are and whatever. Who cares? Me and my 3 views per video, okay? We don't care about these rules of like what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say on YouTube. Anyway, any kinds of labels that are designed to make you feel dumb, basically to make you feel stupid. And also these labels that are kind of usually used, not always, but usually used to your face, basically to stop you from thinking for yourself. Okay? And that's what I mean, right? Like if you fall for these labels, and by you, I mean me, right? This is something that I was just thinking about, right? If I fall for these kind of I could say manipulation, but it's not really, it is a type of manipulation, but I feel like it's a very normal social human thing, right? But yeah, if I fall for that kind of manipulation, well, then that does make me stupid, right? That would be stupider than actually being stupid. And it's the same with cults. And I say this as someone who is, if you know me a little bit more than just the like creative writing side, you know that I'm very attracted to the alternative ways of thinking and alternative ways of looking at things. And I feel like it makes me a good, candidate to be in a cult. Not really a candidate, but like it could totally happen that I would end up in a cult. Not very strictly speaking. I am using the term cult very, very, very loosely. Okay? By the word cult, I also mean all sorts of ideologies, basically, like really hardcore ideology where you're super fixated on one way of looking at things that you really don't see reality, basically. And besides just that being an ideology, there's like a whole, social thing and labeling forming around that. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense or not. I don't know. I mean, the truth is, that I am very interested in quite a few things that I can totally get why some people might label these as cult or culty or something like that, right? Like human design or GNM, German New Medicine, right? Germanische Heilkunde. Even astrology or all sorts of alternative ways of looking at health. All different types of spiritual social circles. Like I've been to various events And there have been times, because I love different spiritual events, and there have been times when I was like, is this like, is this a bit of a cult? Like, would I, if I just kept coming here, would that be, would I don't know, go a little bit crazy? I don't know. I don't know. And like all of these things are very, you know, people can get a bit crazy, right? People who get into human design can get a little bit crazy, I feel. Like crazily obsessed with it and then see everything through that lens and then also try to force everyone into it, into this, like, lure everyone into human design. And just to be clear, like, I'm not saying that it is a cult. I don't think it is. I like human design, but there are aspects of, ways that people interact with it and ways that people talk about it that can make it seem a little bit culty. I don't know. Maybe it is a cult. I don't freaking know, I'm not the cult master or something. And recently something similar has happened because I was doing this challenge. It's really cool, really awesome thing. It's called Paid to Exist Challenge. I'm not gonna talk about that right now, but maybe in some other video. But so I was just looking, this was before actually I did the challenge, I think. I was trying to find the website or something. I don't know. I was like Googling like one of the people that are leading it, and I stumbled upon, I encountered a video. It's like a TikTok video, but it was in a blog post or something like that, about these people who run this challenge and how, oh, that's a cult. And I watched the video. It was pretty, pretty stupid, how how these things can look on social media. They take like, 2 or 3 information, and well, if you're good at editing and presenting information in like different ways, then you can make anything sound very suspicious or dangerous or crazy or whatever. And that's the whole point. That's actually why I wanted to talk about this, because now, of course, as you can see, I don't really care that much, right? I'm like, okay, also, after seeing that video about these people who host the challenge, like being some sort of cult leaders or whatever, I was like, well, okay, I still want to do the challenge because I'm interested in it, and I, for myself, have evaluated that I trust them insofar as I need for them to host this challenge and for me to trust them enough to host it. You know what I mean? Like for what our relationship was going to be, I trust them enough for that. I trust myself. Also, this is also very important, right? I trust myself enough to do the challenge and be able to, notice if anything is off, to take care of myself. And also to trust myself enough that even if, I start to do this challenge and then lo and behold, it's 2 years later and I have, moved to live in some weird commune in the middle of nowhere with a shaved head doing blood rituals or whatever, then that would also be fine, okay? Like, I will, I can trust myself enough to know that if I ever find myself in a situation like that, I can, find my way out of that. I feel like that's important to me personally, However, what I did find very interesting was that the first moment that I saw that video, just the title, I just saw the title, oh, these people are running a cult, or the title wasn't these people are running a cult, but it was more of a question like, who are these people running a cult? And in the first moment, I was like, oh shit, oh shit. Did I fall for it? How stupid of me. And the main part about that, the main part of my fear in that moment was not anything to do with, the reality of the situation, but it had to do with the labeling, right? With the idea, with just the idea of being in a cult, the connotation of being in a cult, and also, like, for me personally, feeling stupid. And the fear that, oh, now people will, people would say I'm stupid for falling for that or whatever, if that turns out to be a cult or not, or whatever. And I thought that was very interesting. And I also thought that if I ever wanted to make a YouTube video titled How to Know If You're in a Cult or Not, which, like, I'm kind of doing now, I don't know yet how I'm going to title this whole thing. Yeah, my idea was that if I ever make a video like that, I would like to present the first question as, why do you not want to be in a cult? Right? Like, why not? What's so bad about it? And I mean this, I'm not even joking, right? I mean it very seriously, because there's this whole thing about, I bet people have all sorts of rational explanations about, okay, well, something being a cult means these. Like, there's certain criteria that, some social circle needs to fulfill for it to be considered a cult. And yeah, there are a lot of things like, being brainwashed or manipulated and all of these, being duped into doing certain things. That's okay, you can say, well, yeah, that would be objectively bad or whatever. But I genuinely think most people don't want to be in a cult, primarily because it makes you look stupid, like, because of the connotation of it, you know what I mean? Just like it was for me in that first moment. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and that's just me. Okay, but I don't think so. But anyway, I feel like if people were really truly honest with themselves, like, what is the number one thing that makes you not want to be in a cult? I think it is the social labeling. Yeah, and my thought was that if you don't want other people to think that you're in a cult, that can be a very easy way for other people to manipulate you as well. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if you saw this video, I don't know if I can try to find it again, right? But just this TikTok video that I saw in some blog post that was about the people who run the Pay to Exist challenge that I did, okay? The way that they present it, it really, like, turns you off. If you are not brave enough to think for yourself, this would totally turn you off, right? Someone labeling something a cult can be very, it's just like, oh, you're a bit of a social pariah now. Does that make sense? Where I'm going with this? I'm not sure. I feel like I kind of lost the red thread along the way. Now I feel like I'm just rambling a little bit. But my whole point was, okay, let me just wrap all of this up. I wanted to explore this the difference between you actually being in a cult, or you actually being stupid, or you actually being a conspiracy theorist, which is like not a bad thing anyway, neither is being stupid. We're all stupid sometimes, like you have to be. Beware of people who claim they are never stupid. So yeah, there's a difference between actually being these things, and there's a difference between being labeled as such, right? And as being labeled as someone saying, oh, you are, I think that's a cult, or someone saying, well, that's a very stupid thing to do, or someone saying, what are you, some sort of conspiracy theorist? What are you, some liberal snowflake? What are you, some alt-right, whatever, I don't know, redneck person? I don't know, like all of these labels, you have to notice that you have to see the intention behind them, because it's not about debating, and it's not about asking you, oh, like, are you, the person asking you, oh, are you stupid, is not actually genuinely interested in you and wanting to get to know you and to know, like, are you stupid or not. But it's a way of controlling what you do, because it's a social label that, yeah, social groups put on things that are like not good, deemed not good. And yeah, that's the way that they function. And I don't know. I'm also not saying that that's a completely bad thing. I feel like sometimes it might be good, same as shaming, Sometimes it's like, well, maybe some things ought to be shamed. I don't know. I don't know, Maybe, we all know that you can do better, and that's why we're shaming you for something. And that doesn't mean that, like, we hate you for, the core of yourself or whatever. I don't know. And I feel like it can be similar with these labels, right? Like, humans are social creatures, and this is just something that we do. Like, we form these circles, and then almost inevitably within each social circle there's this distinction between, okay, what is, who are we and who are, like, other people. And we will try to, get you to stay within this circle, within this ideology, within this system of beliefs, in all sorts of different ways. And yeah, I mean, I'm also not saying it's a good thing to manipulate people like that, but yeah, it's just something people do. But I am saying that, at least I know for myself, it's a very important thing to me personally, to be able to recognize that, like, when it's happening, and to be able to recognize just within myself, like, what am I willing to, am I willing to be called and labeled certain things in order not to, be manipulated, right? Because I do want to evaluate things for myself, and I want to think about things for myself. And ultimately, it's like, it's good to recognize, like, it's one thing if I believe in certain conspiracy theories or not, which, like, most of them I do, because it's like, okay, am I a conspiracy theorist, or am I just, good at recognizing patterns? I don't know, you tell me. But, like, am I able to recognize when someone is using these labels just to get me to stop thinking? And that also doesn't mean that they're wrong, right? Like, maybe something that I believe in is actually not true, and maybe this other person is right in a certain way, but I still don't want to, again, personally, don't want to let this kind of labeling dictate what I'm allowed to think about and not, and what I'm allowed to believe and not, and like who I'm allowed to trust and or not, and things like that. Yeah. I feel like that was it. That was the main thing I was trying to say. Success, more or less successfully. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I was rambling a little bit there, towards the middle or towards the end. I don't know. I don't know. Let me know if this resonated with you, if any of this resonated with you, if, this like hit something. Let me know down in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.